Welcome to the WADT podcast. Each year in Singapore, there are over 7,000 divorces and annulments. And for many of them, they are acrimonious. This year, the government of Singapore conducted several conversations with members of the public to find a way to make divorces more amicable. An amicable divorce is undoubtedly beneficial for all parties involved, especially the children. But is it possible? Our guest today is Himli Ali, and he has been divorced from his wife for about a year, and his divorce was, guess what? Amicable. Today, Hafiz and I will be finding out how they did it. Welcome, Himli.
Himli.
Yeah, thank you, Pakson. Thank you, Hafiz, for having me here.
Himli, you are a father of 5 children.
Five children, 4 girls and a boy.
One already got married even.
Yes,
and 2 of them are below 21, but in their late teens, I suppose.
Yeah, they're in the age of between 28, the eldest, to 18, the youngest.
I see. So, to all our guests, we will ask this surprise question. Okay, so the question is, what do you think fatherhood is about?
Okay, fatherhood is about a sense of responsibility, I would say, right? A responsibility under the care. You care for your children. The fact that you have a title of father, therefore you have a children, your children to care for. If you don't have any children, then you're a husband if you're married. So the responsibility of fatherhood is actually to give the best resources, care, love to my children.
Yeah. So this question is very much relevant to the topic today, because if a divorce, there's no children divorce, I think it'll be much easier for the
Yes.
couple. But when there are children, that's where the complexity is. And
Yes.
to many also, divorce is something that when the marriage are in the rocks, people start thinking about it. But when they think about the children, they tend to soften down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in my case, Hafiz, to give the benefit of the whole situation, is because thinking of my children and thinking of my partner, divorce is necessary.
Tell us your story. Maybe you can start from, well, I don't know where the beginning is, but tell us a story, how it led to, the divorce, how do you decide, and also very interestingly, because yours ended up to be very amicable, and I think our listeners will really be amazed how amicable your divorce was.
Yes.
Tell us a story, please.
Okay, it all started in 2015, about, I think, 6 years ago, yeah? I was a disciplinarian, authoritarian at home, especially in the space of cleanliness and orderliness at home. So it's like, the sergeant or the general at home, yeah?
RSM.
Yeah, so the thing is that my parenting style is only one style, which I observed from my father. I never gone through any father or fatherhood classes, parenting classes. Yeah. So what I observed, what I've been treated by my dad, how my dad raised me up with the rotan and all that. Yeah, that's how I did it. But obviously, I don't rotan my kids. So that was disciplinarian. So in 2015, when my kids are in the mid to late teenagers, they come to me verbally, protesting about my parenting style. And that was the first time in my entire 22 years of marriage, that I got confronted by my kids. And so much so that there's a lot of tension at home. I have to leave the house and stay with my mom for 1 week. For the very first time, Pakson and Hafiz, I tend to reflect back. What's happening? Why is this happening to me now? Why are the kids, which I've given so much resources, attention, if I could, is giving me these negative vibes now? Yeah. Then I say, okay, probably the aha moment came. I should change my parenting style. Yes, disciplinarian could be when they are young, but when they are teenagers, 12 years and above, you should be a friend to them. Yeah. And talk to them like a young adults. Yeah. Uh, but I did not, I did not change. I maintained throughout. So that was my first instant of aha moment. So I changed. Decided to step back, release, not be so strict, and just close one eye on the things when I go back. But as much as I try, it was not enough. So, and fortunately or unfortunately, my wife at that time also have some baggage with me. Yeah, in all aspects. So I decided to change, and then I went back to the house, being a new version of myself, I thought, but it was never enough. But I know deep inside I need to change, with respect to how I treat my children. Yeah, it's not about them; it's about me. I cannot change them, but the one thing that I can do, I can change myself.
So
So,
Himli,
so
I see the word change being used so many times.
yeah,
So I suppose you mentioned about the trigger being your one of the trigger of change is your children start uh, giving feedback about
yes.
the way you parent. What are the trigger, the strong trigger, any strong trigger, that made you really, decide that I have to change or else, somebody will get hurt, something
Uh,
like that.
the statement made by them is that, Papa, you do not know us. You do not know your own children. That was wow. That was a biggie to that was a huge thing to swallow. To me, I give my all, my resources, my time, and whenever I travel a lot, yeah, but whenever I'm home, I try to be with them. But when I hear that, I say, wow, okay, this I thought I'm there, but actually I'm here. So there's a huge gap for me to fill up.
Yeah, that's actually very sad because this happened not just to you but many fathers who I the only way I can understand this is that there are two different definitions of love. For fathers, back at that time, and maybe for many today, is that the way I love my children is to provide for them, to protect them, and to do my best to give them as bright a future as possible, which means giving them the education. If you need tuition, I will find the best tuition teacher for you, and all right. But for the children, the definition of love is very different.
Yeah.
To them, if my father or my mother was there for me and to be with me and to read to me and play with me, all right, and do things with me, that's love. So when the two are not meeting in terms of their definition of love, they do not have the same definition of love. The father thinks that I'm already loving my kids, but the kids say no, that's, to me, that's not what I need or what I want. And so they grow up with this gap in between of them. So I think one of the things I tell parents today is that we need to love them on their terms, not on our
Yes.
terms, right?
Yes.
And well, I'm glad that you have begun to change yourself. But to be honest, I think it's a little bit too late, right? I think the same with many couples, right? If only they had done something a little bit earlier, and the domino effect would have been arrested, and their marriages would probably be able to be saved, and
Yes.
spared the children from all the agony, and all the sadness and all the stress.
And if
Let's-
if I only know that I do not know, and I go out there to learn how to
Yeah.
give a good, positive parenting, then these things will not happen.
Okay, let's fast forward to the divorce itself. So, I'm sure it came to a kind of a point of no return, or it came to another of those, moment where you knew, both you and your wife knew that, okay, this is not going to work. Although we have kind of pushed the divorce, down the road a little bit, hoping for something to save the marriage, but nothing happened, and then you kind of decided, okay, it will end in a divorce. How did you do anything? Was it an intentional decision between you and your wife to make it amicable? How did it happen?
Okay, let me backtrack again. Yeah. So I told you my kids came to me with their feedback in 2015. I went into marriage counseling with my wife then from 2016 onwards. So I'm not sure, 20 plus sessions we went through. Yeah. Of hour and an hour and a half. Some are very revealing, and some are very emotional. So every time that along the way, it's a long time, about 4 years of counseling, where we patch up and then it happened again, and patch up, then it happened again. Yeah. So so in 2019, she asked 4 times for divorce. Yeah. During the and every time, first time, second time, third time, every time when she asked for divorce, I'll try to make it up. I try to bring the marriage together and so on.
Big promises. I will not do that again.
It's not a matter of not do that again, but I try to be a better understanding husband and partner, uh, because I think a lot of things happen in the past, which I can't change, right? So I just look forward. But things happen, and we're back to normal when the past creeps up. So on the third time, after the third time, I pray to God, please give me a sign. If we are meant to go separate ways, please give me signs. If we are meant to stay together, please help. Yeah. So we went for a pilgrimage, small the Umrah pilgrimage. Then when she came back, when we came back, she asked for the divorce for the fourth time, and thereupon I know this is God's calling. So I decided that, okay, let's proceed with it. But before that, I was fighting to hold on, and to hold on the marriage, for the sake of the 28 years that we are together, and for the sake of the children.
Hey listeners, Pax and I are very excited to tell you about something new that's happening. We have just started a book club and would like you to join us. There are vast amounts of knowledge and wisdom in books that are readily accessible to everyone. Reading is also a way to learn from experts in various fields. Not a reader? No problem. Follow our podcast and listen to the episode where Pax and I discuss and summarize a book or a portion of a book. We will use that as the starting point for our book club discussion. We will meet on the first Wednesday of every month. Go to our Instagram and Facebook pages to find out how to join. We'll see you there. And now, back to the podcast. So it seems that you mentioned just now earlier also that you decided to divorce your partner because you want to save the children's as well as your partner's, your ex-wife, sanity, and not having to go through the trauma over and over again.
Yes, yes,
And to the question of both of you decided to make the divorce amicable, all right?
yes.
So what really what make it work? What make the amicable divorce
Okay.
work actually? Yeah.
I mean, she requests for the divorce. Yeah. And okay, so I decided, okay, let's go our separate ways, and probably it's better that way. So inside me, I feel very sad. There's a moment that I cried. There's a moment that I feel dejected, angry, because I felt that all the resources, time, love, whatever I put into the family and the marriage gone to waste. Then after that, there's a realization in me that there's a saying: the outer world will follow the inner world. Moving forward, so I need to change inside me. I can't change what's happening now or in the past. So it's about changing my perspective. Here I am looking at her. She spent 28 years of her life with me and with no one else, raising 5 kids, possibly on her own because I was traveling quite a lot, being an international facilitator and coach. And yeah, so I decided, okay, if we were to go separate ways, I wanted to do it differently from all the divorces I know, to do it amicable. Yeah. So I told her, okay, for the sake of the sanity, your sanity, the kids' emotional well-being, let's be the best of friends after we separated, and see and support each other. Yeah, perhaps we cannot live under one roof. Perhaps when we are separated, probably things will change. That was at that point in time, and it is true, Paksan, Hafiz. It is true. When we are separated, we are living. I'm living with my mom now. The respect is there. We treat each other and we recognize each other's space. Yeah. So, but when we are married under one roof, as a husband, I take her for granted. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm your husband. No, I own you, and all that kind of warrior mindset, without showing respect, love, and space, and all that stuff. But when we are separated, it's two separate individuals. She is respecting me. I'm respecting her. We talk nicely. In fact, we talk like we were dating before. Yeah. So it was blissful. And yeah, there's obviously certain activities that we do to ensure that we are best of friends moving forward.
Yeah, I think Paksan, one of the and Himli, one of the issues to this amicable divorce proposal that is being put up is that they're afraid. And the authorities or some people within this debate is afraid that we will be making divorce easy, or we are trying
Mm.
to encourage divorce. All right. So, what do you think about it? I mean, amicable divorce, no fault divorce. Because most of the time when couples come together, they start blaming each other. Why you didn't do this, you didn't do that, is it you. It's focused on the other person's fault, and lo and behold, you can find any fault on the other person, right, except your own.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what do you think? Will such rule or law that it will be introduced
I
will
think,
encourage more divorce? Yeah.
yeah, I think no fault divorce is not wrong. I mean, there are exceptional cases to anything, but I think in general, even in the case of adultery, let's say within a married between a married couple, there was a case of adultery. Can you say that the one who committed the adultery is at fault and he or she was the one who destroyed the marriage? I think I don't think it's fair to say that, because I think the adultery happened because the marriage was already breaking down. And when a marriage breaks down, it's never, hardly ever the fault of one party. It is the fault of both parties, because
Yes.
both parties are responsible to, do what it takes to make the marriage work. You cannot have one person doing all the work and the other one just going on for the ride. Marriages will never work that way. So I am kind of in favor of no fault divorce. But having said that, how do you minimize divorce? All right. And I think if I had my way, this is what I would say. I think if possible, marriages should end the way it began, right? By one person proposing and the other person either accepting or declining. Isn't it? That's how a couple got married or got engaged, right? Usually it's the guy who proposes, shall we get married, and then the girl would say yes, or, well, I'm not ready. Okay. So if divorce can happen that way, where one party proposes, I think it's not working out. I think we should go for a divorce. Okay. And then the other party will say either agree or disagree. Now, whatever the case, I think the next step to do is to go and see a counselor. Okay. Now, not a lawyer, because once you go and see a lawyer, your mind is already made up. Okay. And I think divorce should only happen when both parties are agreeing. If both parties are not agreeable, then go and see a lawyer, because there has been sufficient evidence to show that couples who are thinking of divorce, or at least one party is thinking of divorce, and they go to see a counselor and take divorce off the table for 6 months and go and see a counselor and try their best to work things out, there is about a 50% success rate. That means these couples actually succeeds in avoiding divorce. All right. So I think that would be a better scenario. Okay. That means you give it your last shot with the help of professionals, right, to save the marriage. Because in most cases, I believe that all marriages can be saved.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with you, Pakson.
Yeah. So we need to, I think that could be the way that we have an amicable divorce. Okay. Because number one, you don't go and see a lawyer. Number two, you go and see a counselor, right? And you try to work it out until both parties say yes. Okay. And then when both parties say yes, then the next step to do is to now talk about, if you have children, talk about co-parenting plans. Okay. Yeah. Because your marriage might have ended, but your role as father and mother, parents to your children, have not ended. So you divorced from each other, but you did not divorce from your children. But in today's, what's happening today most of the time is that one parent, okay, is forced to be divorced from his or her children as a result of divorce. Yeah. So I think that is not a good thing.
I think the how you end should be how you begin.
New Entity is a branding company. They are the ones helping to create a brand for WADT and digital media for all our social media platforms. We will not hesitate to recommend New Entity to anyone, whether you are running a business or a non-profit or starting a blog or podcast just like us. Its founder, Firdaus Amza, was on our podcast a few weeks back, and here's what he said about business and branding.
I like to compare it to business. It's as if it's two sides of the same coin, business and branding. You grow your business, you grow your brand at the same time. If you neglect your brand, your business will grow, but you have the flip side, which is not taken care of, and people will see it, and you are going to lose a lot of opportunity because you're not able to make the connection.
In counseling, both parties must willingly, sincerely go to the counselor to try to save the marriage. If it's just one party, it will not work. For me, man has ego. Why should I go to marriage counseling? It's not my problem. It's your problem. Yeah. So that was my thinking. So it took me a while as the husband, as the head of the family, to really go down to the level that, hey, you know what? I need help too. Yeah. But it takes time. Now I'm on the other side of the fence. I can tell all fathers, husband out there, yeah, try your very best, put your ego aside, and try to reach out for help. Even though you are as strong as you may seen in the mirror, but I encourage you, go for help together with your partner, because for what you know, your partner is also a willing partner who's asking or crying for help. Only when two parties are in the same wavelength crying for help, then it can be patched up. If it's one party only and the other party is forced to go for counseling, it's like, I told you so, blame, culture and so on. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think no. Why we talk about this amicable divorce? I mean, is it possible? Because it's something that maybe is not being discussed, and not only that, it is possible. I mean, Hilmi, you're an example, and we hope that such an approach becomes a game changer, in this divorce world, because divorce is always seen as negative. It's been seen as something that affect the children, and the social impact of divorce is far reaching,
Yes.
and it's important for us to and you mentioned so many things about men having to be more open to seek help, and this is a big issue. We men think that we know everything, we're able to solve our own problem. I mean, we seldom sometimes know how to express our emotions, and then when we express, it becomes extreme, becomes sometimes physical, and
Yeah.
and that's how men is probably believe that this is how we are made up, but it's not true, right?
Yes.
We have to learn how to be emotionally intelligent, right? Like what
Yeah.
you have experienced, and realize that accept the fact that we have to overcome our ego. We have
Yeah.
to go to the
True.
level where we accept that we do have areas to improve.
You know what, Hafiz, I about ego. I'm up there. I was traveling all over the world as an international facilitator and coach in leadership. I'm teaching people leadership to big MNCs, well-known MNCs. But again, I thought I know what's leadership at my level. I was wrong. Yeah, there's a lack of self leadership in me where parenting and where marriage is concerned. There's lack of self love as well in me for me to give love to others. So by the time I realized that and tried to seek help, well, though it's in a process at that point in time, but I'll say it was too late. I mean, I'm on the other side of the fence now, divorced. But I encourage all of those fathers and partners, please save your marriage. Please save your marriage. Because now I'm on the other side of the fence. I reminisce the old good times with me and my spouse, with my ex, me and my children. That is an afterthought, but it's sense of regret, the sense of what if scenario. How I wish I can turn back the clock, you know. But when you're in the midst of all those turbulence time, you don't feel this way. You just want to get out of it. But when you are on the other side of the fence, when you mellowed down, you get your senses back, your ego is one side, then you started to feel the sense of loss.
So, Emily, since you mentioned it, I want to ask you another question. Are you prepared one day to remarry your ex-wife?
I keep the option open. Yeah, I do not know what's the future ahead of me, but one thing for sure, I'm in a process of rebuilding my life. Yeah, I'm in a process of rebuilding my life in all ways and means to be a better father to my kids. I know I'm not a good father to my kids, even though they are successful in their own ways in studies and in careers. Uh, but I need to be a better father to them, and I'm learning now. Yeah. One thing I like to the audience to know, where I learned from Peter Sage. We individually we have our own movie. This is a metaphor. I have my movie, and I want to be the star of my movie. My respective children have their own movie and they want to be the star of their movie. My wife at that point in time has her own movie and she wants to be the star of the movie. The problem with me is that I push myself into their movie and I make myself star in their movie. And they keep on pushing back. Don't get into my movie. I want to be my star. Don't come in, Papa. So in reflection, that's what I have been doing, forcing myself. If I understand this metaphor earlier on, things will be different. Yeah, I will step back and say, okay, let's be a supporting actor to their movie, but not be a star in their movie. So
Well, I think that's a very
metaphorically,
good metaphor, but it can maybe be understood in a different way. When your kids are young, all of you, your wife, and your children are all in one movie. All right, with
yes,
you and your wife as the protagonist, it means the main characters. But
yes,
as your
yes,
children grow up, they begin to have their own script. They begin to,
yes, correct.
their role becomes more expanded, and perhaps each one of them will have their own sequel. That means sequel means it's a second, or the follow-up to the main movie, the first one. So their lives will be more like a sequel to the main one. All right, with you, the parents becoming more of, like you say, the supporting actor, and the child becoming the protagonist of their own movies. So I think that's maybe a way to understand it, so that we understand where our role comes in. Where are we supposing to step back a little and let them take the lead, right? And just like Star Wars, right? Star Wars started out with Luke Skywalker as the main character, but then subsequently there are many sequels, and then some of the sequels, Han Solo was the main character. How did Han Solo begin in the first place? So that's I think that's maybe how we can see our lives, as much as they are meshed together, but there's also that autonomy from one
Yes,
another.
yes, yes.
So Himli, I congratulate you for this transformation. I believe that it wasn't easy, and also I would like to so-called, you told us that you did something or doing something together with your wife.
Yes.
Yes, why don't you
So
share a bit?
okay. So in 2018,
Yeah,
me and my wife decided to write a book. 2018, in the hope that will save our marriage. In
I
fact,
see.
this was it was a first project together, doing something together.
I see.
Yeah. Um, but because of the dramas and turbulence time between 2018 to 2019, we never kickstart the book. Yeah, we only did that after the divorce, and we regrouped together. Okay, I told my ex-wife to say, I think we got a lot to offer based on our experience, to help those people who are in the same situation as we were before, do the things that we did not do, and don't do the things that we have done. Yeah, uh, the tips and tricks. So the name, we wrote a book. We already in a publisher. Hopefully, it will be out first quarter next year. So the title of the book, can you guess?
What is
It
it?
Okay,
must be
okay.
interesting.
The title of the book is kind of crude, but screw it. I want my life back.
Wow.
It
Okay.
was 8 ways for having it all. So I started the book with, how can you change yourself first. Like I said earlier, the outer world follow the inner world. It's all start from within.
Mm.
Yeah, and then follow on with finance, follow on with relationship, follow on with your career, and then marriage, parenting style, and create an environment, conducive environment for the family. So all these topics are things that we have experienced, the ups and downs, and we'll like to help everyone out there, and hopefully the book will be able to save the marriage, or at least save your relationship with your children.
Oh, that nicely will uh, signal us to take a break on this topic, and probably the next time we meet you, we'll probably talk about your book.
Will do. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if I
And
can,
and and, and one and it seems that amicable divorce seems that people can get an easy way out to go for divorce. well, in the Western world, yes, divorce is like everyday affair, but it's not it's not an easy thing to let go something that you have cherished, something that you have put your heart and soul into it. If you ask yourself, why were you married in the first place? Why do you have children in the first place? Yeah, then being divorced should not come easy. You should try to to uh, to strive to save your marriage as far as possible for the sake of your partner who has also sacrificed their time, their life with you, for the sake of your children. And if so happen that you have no choice but to be separated, separate on good terms for the sake of everyone involved. And with the amicable divorce, yeah, you said everyone think divorce should be acrimonious, should be fighting, should be do not talk to each other, do not see you for the rest of your life. No. So I celebrated this divorce because I celebrated the 28 years of marriage with my partner. Yeah, and I celebrated the good time that I have with her and the children. In fact, we celebrated our first divorce anniversary in August this year. People celebrate a marriage anniversary. We tell our friends, "Oh, I just celebrated my divorce anniversary." Now,
Yeah, I
there is
believe this is
not
like part of the healing process.
yes,
You think
part
so?
of the healing process, and it's about celebrating each other's life. That she has put 28 years, I have put 28 years, my kids have put their lives together with us in them. So yeah, I mean, that's the
Maybe
purpose of it.
just a suggestion, because celebrating your divorce anniversary might send kind of a wrong signal.
Wrong signal.
Maybe what you should celebrating is the years of friendship, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
you and your wife have known each other for many years. You've been married for that many years. So now that you're no longer married, but you're still friends. So celebrate the number of years you have been friends. I think that's maybe another way you can think about doing that. But
yes.
we look forward to your book, and we look forward to I look forward to the next book, which is I Want My Marriage Back.
Sequel,
Sequel,
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, thank you, Hamli, and for sharing so openly, so candidly about your life experience and what happened to your marriage and all that. We wish you all the best, you and your ex-wife. We look forward to your book. We will be putting more information about the book on our social media platforms so that people can check it out. All right. So have a nice day.
okay. Thank you,
Right.
Paksan. Thank you, Hafiz, for having me here.
Well, you've been listening to the WADT podcast. Thank you for joining us. If you have enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us so that you will not miss any future episodes. Also, do let fellow dads know about this podcast. If you would like to react to what you have heard today, just head to one of our social media platforms. We are on Instagram and Facebook. Or you can email us at wearedads2@gmail.com. Also, do let us know what you would like us to discuss in the future podcast episodes. Till the next time, this is Hafiz and Paksan signing off.